Hello and welcome back to my garden. It is the beginning of May and the spring bulb season is slowly coming to an end, leaving behind a soft mix of color, with tulips and daffodils still lighting up different corners of the garden. Later in this video I'll take you on a full garden tour, but first let me share a few impressions from around the garden. I absolutely adore the colors of these upstart tulips. They stay quite compact, which makes them perfect for pots. I will definitely be growing this variety again next year. The coral blush tulips have also been a real highlight this season. They've performed beautifully and are absolutely a keeper in my garden. Boxwood is looking lush and fresh in its spring green, providing structure while a few tulips are still blooming in between. Behind it I'm growing a small woodland border that sits in partial shade for most of the day. The roses are not in bloom just yet, but the forget-me-nots and burnera are still going strong, gently filling the garden with soft blue tones. In the terracotta pots next to the bench there's still a few white daffodils in flower, along with the yellow wildflowers. Hello and welcome back to another garden tour. The spring bulb season is almost finished, but there's still some tulips and daffodils in flower that I love to show you. So let's start here on the right on the terrace. Where I have these beautiful soft pinks and apricots. This is a gorgeous daffodil named Dahlia, if I pronounce it correctly. Really beautiful. It does need a little bit of staking. And over here I have the coral blush tulips, and they have been flowering now for I think almost 4 weeks. And they started quite bright and not quite the color that I loved, but I must say these last couple of weeks they're absolutely stunning. Look at these beautiful flowers. And in front I have another tulip. Let's see what it is called. This one is called Creme Upstar. It started as a pale yellow and then it faded to a creamy white with these lovely flushes of pink. I think they're really pretty. Over here I have this beautiful gem in a gorgeous apricot color, and this one is called Victoria Sponge. And on the other side of the terrace I have a similar display. Without the daffodil, the Dahlia, I only had one pot of flowers of them. But I have the tulips here, the coral blush. and the creme star. I have also apricot pride here. Gorgeous tulip, but I only have 2 flowers. As you can see, not many did well. 2 flowers from 7 bulbs I planted in here. But it is a gorgeous flower. As you can see, the white tulips have finished flowering, so I removed the flower heads. But I left the foliage so they can die black slowly, and then put all the energy in the bulbs for next year. Between the boxwood, the tulips also finished flowering, so I removed the flower heads. But there are still a few tulips in flower, and those are the ones that I planted last year. So the ones that already finished flowering, and those are the ones that I left in the soil, and they were planted a couple of years ago. And these are the same variety, but somehow these ones decided to flower not at the same time. The roses are growing quite tall this year, but unfortunately all the foliage has these curled leaves, and that's from an insect leaf roller. Can't do anything about it. It looks a bit ugly, no damage to the roses, but it doesn't look as nice as if it would have had normal foliage. On this side I have geums popping up here and there. This is a variety called Mai Tai. It's a more orangey one than the Victoria sponge. I'll zoom in a little bit. It's really pretty, a double ruffled flower. It is a bit orangey for me for this time of the year. In summer it would have been absolutely amazing, but somehow for now it doesn't work in my garden. But I absolutely love these flowers. And behind it you can see that a hyacinth popped up. I absolutely adore this color, but as you can see it doesn't work with geums. But every year I forget to move it. I didn't buy it, it just popped up here. So yeah, need to remember to move it to another spot this year. On the left side I have a yellow geum. I think it's really pretty. I don't know what name it is, what variety. It was labeled incorrectly at the garden center. It was labeled as a very bright orange one, but I really like the yellow flowers. I really love these pale yellow flowers, double flowers with ruffles, really pretty. And in the corner behind it I have some ferns. This is a very dry area, shady and dry. And there's lots of these tiny white flowers popping up. That is woodruff, and they have an amazing fragrance. And they do quite well in dry shade. So if you have a dry, shady corner in your garden where nothing grows, this one will definitely do well. The vegetable garden is packed with seedlings at the moment. Not many veg, it's mostly ornamental flowers. Lots of cosmos. They were a little bit leggy and floppy, but now they look much better. There's some phlox here. The peas doesn't seem to be very happy this year. Usually they're much taller, especially when they start flowering. It's probably because of the drought. The boxwood is looking lush and green. I absolutely love their spring color, that vibrant green. Most of the spring bulbs here have finished flowering, so I had to replace them. I still had some Acropolis daffodils. I planted all my daffodils at the same time, and somehow these ones started flowering 2 or 3 weeks later than the previous ones. So that is absolutely amazing. So that means that I still have some daffodil flowers here. And I had these tender beauty flowers. I don't know if you remember from my previous video where I had that tiny little spider, but the flowers had finished, so I had to remove the flower heads. So I have translocated my little spider friends to this flower. I don't know if you can see him. He is just here. Just there. My little friend. I hope he likes his new home. I probably sound absolutely ridiculous for translocating a spider, but I felt so sorry for the little guy that, yeah, his home was finished flowering, so I thought I'd help him. And yeah, I hope he'll do well on this new flower. I've placed some wallflowers here. They were on the other terrace, but there were still many other flowers and didn't have any pots for the wallflowers anymore, so I thought, yeah, let's place them here. And I think they look really nice here. I also have them on that side with some Acropolis daffodils, and still the other daffodils here. These tiny little white flowers, the silver chimes, I think it is called. They're still looking pretty. I removed the flowers that had finished already, but there's still quite some flowers on it, so it looks pretty. In my last video I also mentioned all the allium foliage that was looking absolutely ugly and yeah, I removed everything. They didn't have any flowers, there are only a few flowers. So most of it was just foliage, so yeah, I've removed all the foliage. So now you can see there's quite some space here where I can plant up my dahlias, my cosmos. I've also planted a few more foxgloves. They will look really lovely here. There's some lilies. And I also see a little lily beetle. 2 of them. Not too happy with those because they're nibbling on the foliage. I've planted the hellebore here. Wasn't sure in my last video, but I think it looks really, really nice here. And it will do quite well because it is quite shady here in summer. There's some more raccoon tulips popping up here. Those are the ones that I planted last year. Not very tall, probably from the drought. And they're flowering quite late, much later than the other raccoon tulips that already finished flowering. And I have a few more on this side as well. I had lots of foliage from the alliums here, but almost no flowers. So I removed all the foliage from the ones that didn't flower. But these ones do start to flower now, and this is a variety purple. It's not purple sensation. Not sure what this one is called. And I see another lily beetle there. Need to remove that little guy. And I see something is nibbling here on my boxwood. And unfortunately, those are the boxwood caterpillars. I already sprayed with an organic spray, but somehow this fellow survived. These are some of my dahlias, but not all the dahlias do well. And I have lots of tomato plants. And courgettes. I already see some flower buds here. But it's still too cold to plant them outside, so I have to wait a little longer. Here are my snapdragons. I pinched them out and potted them up all into these individual little pots. This is the flower bed that I started last year. I have lots of scabious in here. Already forming lots of flower buds. I've got some foxgloves in here. I've placed a rose in here. That one was at the back of my garden, but in a spot there was quite a lot of shade, so it didn't like it there, so I hope it will do better here. And I have some feverfew. Lots of feverfew and foxgloves are popping up here, self-sown. This is the terrace at the back of my garden where I keep all the spring bulbs that have finished flowering. I still have to remove some of the flowers. And they can just die back slowly here in this little corner, storing all their energy for next year. Strawberries start flowering. And then over here I have all my dahlias stored, and they're not doing really well. As you can see, I have quite some dahlias here in this corner. Those are Café au lait and Breakout, but I have many more here that haven't started to sprout yet. This one does, that one is a new one, but most of them are not doing anything, and I'm not sure if they will. I have many more in here. A few of them start sprouting, but as you can see, most of them haven't done anything yet. So I am wondering if I should just leave them in the soil next year, but if we have frost and a very wet winter they might rot. Yeah, or maybe I should store them in a different way. I hope you enjoyed this garden tour. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely Sunday and hope to see you again next time.